struggled so hard in my life. I went through so much that the biggest trophy I own now is that book. The biggest trophy I own now is not the book itself, it's what's in the book. It's what, like, I don't give a f if that sells one copy. Honest to God, man. Like what I did, and that's what I hope people understand. Your life and the journey you put yourself through, there's nothing more than that. And that's all I want people to do is realize that you have to struggle. You have to struggle. The bigger the struggle, the bigger the peace. The bigger the suffering, the more peace. My story, there's no color involved in it. It's a human story about struggle. And I happen to be in so many different situations that so many people can relate to about struggle that I guarantee you, mark my words, you read that book, there will be a section of that book that resonates with you hardcore. It will make you think. If you're not ready to think about your life and think about, where you can be and think about what you haven't done, the book's not for you. If you're not ready to really self-reflect and hold yourself accountable for where you're at and where you're not, the book is not for you. It's real. Yeah. So many people are talking this noise.
Exactly.
And I see them.
Yeah.
I know them. I'm not going to say names, but I know them. I'm like, man, dude, do you know why my life is miserable right now? Because I can't go on your show right now, your podcast, if I didn't get after it this morning. So I cannot talk to people.
Unless you're authentic.
Unless I'm authentic. Because I used to be the most unauthentic motherfucker on the planet. Now, I have this voice in my head saying, oh no, I'll call you up. If I lie to you about something, even a white lie. Hey, yo, Joe, guess what, dude? I lied to you, man, like that wasn't real. Like it will bother me that badly now. So another thing, what's funny about all this book stuff, man, I didn't set out to write a book. Like literally, man, when I was 24 years old on a couch, fat and spraying for cockroaches, eating donuts and drinking milkshakes, I did not plan on doing this. All I wanted to do was change the reflection in that daggone mirror. This is all just it's a byproduct of that. And that's the funny thing about it. Like everybody's like, oh my God, David Goggins, what the hell you I'm like, what the You know what's funny about that? Is I have people now, so when I was in the worst part of my life, those people want to bring you back in. Those people, like you can see who you hang out with, like when you're in your worst. And when you're trying to get better, what makes it hard to get better is that you are hanging around people who, like, let's say you are an alcoholic. You hang around people who drink. And let's say you want to stop drinking. Those people want to bring you back in. Like I used to be this guy who wasn't worth anything. Now those people who are still there, they're 16, 17, 18, 30 years ago, they're trying to get you back there. So the hardest part, you got to see who you're hanging out with, man. You got to hang out with the people who you want to be like the most.
Yeah, people will definitely drag you down.
They'll drag you down. Why are you doing that today, man?
Yeah.
Why are you getting up again so early? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? The people you're hanging around with will suck the life out of you.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just got to be alone, man. Get your shit in. Well, the first thing I tell myself is don't just jump out weighing 200 some odd pounds and run 100 miles with no fucking brain. That was the dumbest shit I ever fucking did. So the one thing I would do though is I would start to be scientific on your recovery.
Okay.
It's not so much the distance, it's the recovery. If you're trying to put 300 miles, like what's the distance? Like, so what's the time frame between each one?
Like 4 months, and it's gonna be next year.
Okay, well think about this. I did 800s in 8 consecutive weekends. So when you're fucking out there, just think about this. 300-pound, fat ass motherfucker with stretch marks went out there and said, because at the end of the day, that's what it really takes. It takes you, so I have this thing called the 1 second decision, you may have heard it, but I haven't broken it down to this. So, military training, Hell Week, you know what that is, right? SEAL training.
Yeah.
It's 130 hours.
Yeah.
The reason why people fail is not the 130 hours that get you. It's the 450,000 fucking seconds. And you only got to on one of them. Okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
People, you can get 449,000 seconds right. You will lose by 1 fucking second. So when you're out there, keep that shit in your fucking mind. Don't go out there for 100 miles. If it takes 24 fucking hours, do the seconds, because that's how much focus and dedication it takes to whatever the fuck you do in life. It takes every that's why people lose. Because think about that, to be wired in for that fucking long. That's what it takes. I want to be great. And I have a thing called the foxhole mentality. A lot of us got motherfuckers from high school and college and grade school, losers, that we came up with. But them motherfuckers ain't worth shit. I can't have you in my foxhole, man. It's a fighting position. I'm going to fucking war now, man. I'm going to war every day in my life because I want to be fucking great. I can't speak this way to everybody because people take it so wrong and so sensitive. I'm telling you right now, man, empathy, there's a spot for it, but not when you're trying to be great. The thick skin, the tough way is the only way. And people gotta be able to handle those hard conversations around you because there's managers and there's leaders. A manager makes sure you clock in every day, okay? A lot of leaders have become managers. You wanna be a motherfucking leader. A leader takes you, knows how to talk to you and not baby you so you can become the best you can be. And empathy a lot of times, about this much, have about this much, but the second you stay in empathy too long, you just fuck up your whole team. So make sure, teach them, not empathy, teach them thick skin so they can get fucking better. It's not here to hurt you, it's here to help you. The first thing I do with fear is I study it. I study the fuck out of it. I've been afraid of a lot of things in my life. I still am. I study the fuck out of my fear. And once you study the fear, you realize 9 times out of 10, it's just anxiety. Something that you gotta get the fuck over. Fear is only a second. Anxiety is what lasts for a long time. Okay, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
So when I'm at fucking 15,000 feet looking out, getting ready to fucking airplane, that ain't fun for me. That's fear. But with the day or two before I jumped, that's anxiety. But I went home years ago and I studied parachutes, studied how they started packing them, started learning how they open, started learning the malfunction procedures. Before I knew it, I was intelligent about my fear. And once you get intelligent about your fear, guess what happens to it? It starts to drift away. Because now, fear is some of the unknown shit. I became a genius at the shit I was afraid of. Therefore, the fear became my big. And that's a true statement, my friend. Try one more time.
Let's go.
Okay? Try one more time.
Yeah.
And that goes in for me. Think about this. You read the book. I didn't pass anything the first time. SEAL training, got fucked up in Ranger School, got fucked up in Delta Selection, got fucked up on a pull-up record, got fucked up in smoke jumping training, got really fucked up in school. But look where I'm at today. So, the limit you're talking about, it's all relative. What I've done to myself, I can't even put on paper. Can't even put in words because no one's gonna believe it. So actually on Instagram, I dumb everything down because the first thing I'm gonna get is you're lying.
Yeah.
So I write non-truths about the truth that is much harder than that. Because I'm gonna get that right there. Man, you're fucking nuts.
I love it. I think that's where we thrive. You know,
Well, the thing
we want to be
about it is
around
this.
that.
You wanna make sure that you know yourself.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's all relative. My journey has pushed me so far, so lonely in my head, and a lot of lonely, it's called the unseen work. No one knows what the David Goggins really does. You see a 1-minute snippet, you read a little book. The shit I do on a daily basis gives me that very confidence. Like I said up here, I know I've built belief that I may have failed, but building that belief I know I just didn't figure it out yet. Not that I can't do it, I just didn't figure it out yet. And that's what all that is. And I've also built up an insanely high pain tolerance by having that dog.
That dog.
I'm not trust me man, I was born some sickly little abused kid, afraid of everything. But I built up that dog, and once you build that dog in you, man, the pain and the suffering and the lonely nights and the unbalanced, if you put the right people in that foxhole with you, you are dangerous, motherfucker. Very dangerous. Everybody thinks that where I'm at today is a permanent solution. That everything I came through in my life, that 300-pound fat ass, pest control, non-reading, non-writing motherfucker. That person, literally, when I'm running, I don't see a skinny shadow. That motherfucker chasing me is that 300-pound man. The only thing I do now, instead of running from that motherfucker, every morning I turn around and face that bitch. I'm like, hey man, I know you're there. I know you ain't going nowhere. But you have to control every decision you make in your life. Those demons are gonna always be there. And that's exactly why I go back to building that belief, because they always wanna break you back down. It's not a permanent solution, but it's how you talk to them now. The conversation wants to be dictated by those demons. When you're fat and you're not where you wanna be, and you're not successful, those demons want that very conversation. You gotta make sure that when you go to bed at night, you're net positive. A lot of times I wake up and I'm negative. And my shit's all fucked up. I make sure before I tuck myself into bed at night, I'm in the black. I'm not in the red. So that demon may get a hold of me before I go to bed though. I make sure to put that motherfucker to bed. And I'm the motherfucker under the bed that he's fucking scared of it. So that's how you gotta have that mindset, man. When I started figuring out life, that I was leaving so much in the tank, I call it my 40% rule.
Yeah.
I was leaving so much in the tank. Once I realized, my God, man, I was this dumb, fat kid being bullied, and now I'm a 180-pound person, lost 106 pounds in less than 3 months. Learn to read, learn to do this, learn to do that. I was like, I need more. I was fueling my mind with everything. And I never took time to say, my God, you came from this hell, and you're here. So those insecurities, and this is how I explain it the best way. SEAL training became pretty hard and a lot of guys weren't getting through it. So they designed a SEAL prep program.
Like a boot camp for the boot camp.
That's right.
Yeah.
And it was 2 months. In my last 2 years before I retired from the military, they sent me there to train these kids.
Wow.
To get ready for
18,
buds.
19, 20-year-olds, yeah.
Young kids. So when they get to Navy SEAL training, man, they were physical studs. They were running, swimming. I mean, they were hybrids.
Wow.
But they get to buds, and the same amount of people would quit.
Why is that?
This is why. We were training bigger, stronger, faster quitters. It's not about.
Not the mind.
That's right. We weren't diving into the sewer. Everybody's got a story. We don't share it on social media. We share our nice life on social media. We all have a dungeon. I'm just willing to talk about mine.
Yeah.
Most of us aren't willing to talk about it. I'm willing to talk about my dungeon. I wasn't getting into the dungeon of these guys' minds. I wasn't building that so-called mental toughness. Mental toughness isn't something that you sample. It's something that you live in every day. So when something hard would happen to these kids, like in Hell Week, it would draw on something that made them very insecure, and they look for comfort. Whenever hardness comes, and you don't know what it is, it may be different for you than it is for me, but you go back to your insecurities. And then when you go back to your insecurities, you then look for comfort within those insecurities. And we all look for that cookie that your mom used to give you when you were sad, when you were sick. We look for our wife or our husband. We look for comfort. It's in those moments you must retrain your mind to think differently in hell. And no one saved me. It wasn't like someone came down here and guided me through life. When you figure this out on your own, the amount of pride and dignity and self-respect you have. That's why I walk around the streets with a backpack and just like, I don't need anything else.
Yeah.
You figure it out by going inside yourself, by callousing over the victim's mentality. You're always a victim, even if you have everything in life, until you realize what you've achieved. You have to first realize what you've achieved. And my mom has accomplished so much in her life since my father, but she hasn't done that one step.
Really? She doesn't acknowledge it and reflect
She
back.
continues to go back to the dungeon of her past life.
And live in that space.
And live in that space versus living the space that she's in now and reflecting back on, my God, this is what I've done with my life. Most of us, we live in a box. And we don't want to go outside that box at all, ever. Outside that box is all these possibilities of life. What we do is we shackle our mind. We are a prisoner in our own mind that this is all I can do. This is all I'm good at. And we take away the possibilities of you could be this, you could be that, you could be all these things. And I never thought at 300 pounds I could be a Navy SEAL.
Wow.
So if my mind was shackled, me and you would never meet. There'd be no book.
Right.
There'd be no book.
Right.
There'd be nothing. So what people understand is that they live for themselves, not knowing that you have the power within yourself to change millions of lives by facing life, by facing yourself. It would change everything for me. If I can start the hardest training in the world, broken, and graduate, so my mind fed off of that. You are now, from the weakest man, you are now the hardest man to ever live. If you can do this. If you can do this. Life is one big mind game, and you're playing it with yourself. Is it true? I don't care. It got me through the hardest training, starting out broken. Where most people quit, I had just started.
Wow.
And when you take that mindset and you learn to flip that around, that's what made me powerful. And my body followed. And 3 months later, my stress fractures were healed by running on them. When the mind and the body connect, and you don't give yourself a way out. The only way out for me at that time was death.
Wow.
I'm going to be a Navy SEAL.
Or I'm going to die.
Or I'm going to die trying.
Yeah.
Period. And my body said, Roger that. We're going to get you through this. On the other end of suffering is a life that many people don't know even exists. It's a beautiful world because like the 40% rule. We all live in this world where our brains are keeping us in this box. Outside that box, on the other edge of suffering, which is on the other edge of that 40%, is a world that's endless of opportunity. But we are afraid to go outside that box because in that box is comfortable. That's where all of our nice stuff, that's where the nice 4-lane highway's at. I know where the restrooms are at. I know where the gas stations are at. Outside that box, man, God gives you a shovel and says, man, start digging. That's not fun. But when you dig your own path to all kind of stuff that's unknown. And that's why I started realizing, man, like on the other end of this is some beautiful stuff. So I got outside my box and realized, man, 300 pounds, now look at me, I'm 185 pounds. And on the other side of the box was all this stuff. And I didn't know it was over there until I climbed the wall. Man, right now, I've climbed a lot of walls. There's no more walls anymore. The reason why is because I know how to climb. I was trying to figure out how to climb before. I got all the right gear, man. I got the ropes, I got the shoes, I got the chalk, I got the harnesses. I'm good, I'm not scared to climb anymore. I go to the rock, hammered in, I got my belay, and I'm good to go. So you gotta figure out how to climb first, and that's all. We all have a different way of climbing. That's why there's a lot of books out there on mental toughness. It's all crap. Why? Because it's a cookie cutter way. Life isn't cookie cutter. Like 3.14 is pi. It's how you figure out equations. We're all different equations. We all have a story. We all have to strengthen our mind to figure out our own equation. Once you figure out your own equation in life, you can then start picking away at how to be better. But you first have to figure out your equation in life. Once you figure that out, man, you can do anything. Motivation is crap. Right now, a lot of you right now can be motivated as hell, go out of here and be like, yeah, I'm motivated. Like you said, you're right. Not being driven or obsessed, this motivation fades. And motivation is at the all-time high when your bills are paid, when your wife or husband is good, when everything is good, you're motivated. It's that person when all hell breaks loose and everything falls apart that says, I still gotta get it in. And how you get to that point in life, what I figured out, it's so noisy right now. This world is so noisy. We all walk around with these phones, computers. The world is so fast. We're not able to think. The most powerful weapon in the world, we walk around with it. It's our mind, it's our brain. You have to be able to go into a very dark place in your mind and figure who you are. Go back to what you want to do. What's your purpose? We can't figure our purpose out or why we're here or why we're even born or whatever, because it's so loud in our mind. We don't have any quiet time with ourselves to sit back and say, what do I really want? There's so many different dialogues in our head that we can't think. So my biggest thing is you have to be alone in a very dark place in your mind to think about what is important to you. I learned I was leaving a lot on the table, and that's what scares me the most. I'm good now, but what haunts me is that at 24 years old, I was 300 pounds, and if I didn't make a right turn, if I decided to just give in to the feelings I had, I would have died a 300 or 400 pound man working some minimum wage job in my casket, never knowing that I was this guy. And with fear, so I believe in God. And what scares me the most is I believe that God, in my own mind, I'm a big visualization person. So what keeps me going is like visualizing. It's not true, but it helps me. I believe that God had this big chart in heaven. And when you get there, if you earn your right to get there, you get there in heaven, and you get there, let's say I walked up at 300 pounds. And God says, hey man, great job, you made it to heaven. And he rips this page down from Brian Underwood. And now it says David Goggins' chart. He rips it down, throws that paper to the side. And he says, look at this. And I'm reading it. I go, what is this? He goes, how much do you weigh? 300 pounds. What did you do? I was a pest control guy for 40 years. He says, this is what you were supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? A 185-pound person. Be able to run 205 miles. Break the pull-up record. Motivate people. Energize people. Make them driven. Make them passionate. Make them find more. So am I in heaven or in hell? That's what motivates me. It scares me also, because I believe that we are all leaving a lot on the table. And now when I go to heaven, what I want God to look at me and say is, as you were living, I'm the all-knowing man. I had to get a damn marker out and write more as you were living. You see what I'm saying? I want to impress him. That's what I'm here for. I want to do the impossible. Everybody's story does either harm or good to them. You have to go back in there, in that muck, face that muck, fix that. Because what happens is, when I was in Navy SEAL training, one of my jobs was to train guys to get through Navy SEAL training. And what I started realizing is I was training these guys, they were getting bigger, stronger, faster, all this other stuff. But they would still quit. All I was doing was building bigger, stronger, faster quitters. And I started down, I was like, what the hell am I doing wrong, man? I was changing all the external crap. I wasn't going into the internal and changing what really matters. So that's what the first step is, and I talk about it a lot in my book about how, like, the steps about doing that, man. But the first step you have to do is face yourself and be accountable for what you're not, so then you can be what you want to be. But first, face what you're not. So I like Gary Vee, but I'm not tripling down on strengths. I'm tripling down on weaknesses. That's what I do. It's important to stay hungry, but it's important more to stay humble within that hunger. So while you're hungry, a lot of people are hungry, but humility is everything. That's why I help so many people out. I've never been above you. I've always pretty much been beneath you, and that's where my knowledge came from. So I know how to reach those people who are in the dungeon, because I've been there so many times. I'm not gonna sugarcoat anything. I understand that guy. I understand exactly where you're coming from. That is your personal opinion, and I totally get that. But there's very few people in this world who want to do a job like that. And it takes a different kind of mindset. Is it tear gas appropriate? I don't know. How hard that training is, I don't expect anybody to understand it, but 1%. But the loud voices of this world are the 99% who don't understand exactly what you have to do. That's why when I speak and you don't understand me, it's probably a good thing, because that probably means I'm in an area of life that you're not in, which is fine. That's why I don't judge people. And this guy right here judging that, unless you've been there and done that, and you really can't speak about it unless you're in those situations that are so hard that it takes a special human being to get through them. I don't try to convince people otherwise. I understand that why you're confused. I understand why you say things like that. I'm not saying anything bad about that. I understand it. But also, what you don't understand, what you fail to understand, is the other side, that you need people like that. You need the Elon Musks. You need the David Goggins. You need some of these Navy SEALs, some of these other people. You need those people. And they forget that. And it takes a very, very unique person and unique mind to do some of these jobs that are necessary in this world. That's the problem. That's the problem. And that's a problem that I've always had. Is that right there. Is that with even some of the most trained people in the world fall back on that. It's easy to talk about. Like I said, when you go through it once, it's a perishable skill. Hardness, mental hardening, mental toughness, it's a perishable skill. Just because you went through some training once and you got through it, doesn't mean it lasts forever. And that's where most people hated me in my life, because I realized that. You don't just say, oh, I got it, I'm checked off, I'm good for the rest of my life. That's why you have to recall. You recall on fucking everything. And you definitely must recall when it comes to the mind. That is one of the biggest requalifications you must have. And when you're at that level, you got to recall every fucking day, not once a year. I'm the happiest man on the planet Earth. So people may take this as so many people do. We live in a very weakened society. So when they hear a throwback guy like me from back in the ancient days of Garanimals, they often think this guy is just whatever. So if you think that I'm some unhappy guy, you're wrong. Having lived the life I've lived and seeing the other side, not being afraid to attack what was in front of me, has made me happy. My name is David Goggins. I created Goggins. Goggins is the guy that can take anything you put in front of him. You wanna break my motherfucking legs? So be it. I have a way of going to a place like I did in that race, where all the pain and suffering that they put on top of me in Hell Week, I will reverse that pain and suffering, and I will take your soul. So every instructor that put me through Budge, my job, what drove me, was I wanted you to go home that night after you beat the living shit out of me, and I smiled in your face. I wanted you to feel worse than I did, and you were going home to a nice warm bed with your wife or your kids and a nice meal, and I was still out there in the grip, suffering for another 100 hours. I wanted you to think about me, knowing that I'm comfortable being very unfucking comfortable. And I want you to think about when you went through fucking Hell Week, how uncomfortable you were and how bad you wanted to quit, knowing I'm not thinking that way. So the dark side is something that I've designed. It's an evil place I can go that very few things can hurt me. I use the hurt you're trying to put on me, I flip it upside down and use it. You trying to use it for kryptonite? No, it's power pillars for me. I'm using it for strength. I just flip negative into positive, that's all it is. I hate to say it, the best way for me to get how I feel across, I can't sit here and say, you know what, yeah, I went through Hell Week and man, it was really hard. No, that motherfucker takes your damn soul, rips it inside out, and then they say, now we're going to fucking start. It allows me to express where I was at a point of my life. If I don't give you all of me, why the hell am I here? How will you learn from me? People take so much offense to me. You will never learn from people if we always tap dance around the truth.
Oh God, I love that.
We tap dance around the truth by finding the right words so I don't hurt you because you have thin skin. No, tighten up, people. It's okay, trust me, it's okay. You might be called nigger one day, it's okay. You might be called some Jewish word or some faggot or gay word. It's okay. Let them call you that. What are you going to do now? They don't own your life. How are you going to control that now? How are you going to flip it upside down and say, Roger that, now I'm going to harness this shit, and you'll read about me years from now? How? That's the question. How are you going to do that? Thicken your skin. Become more of a human being. Don't be afraid of the reflection in the mirror, because that's all you can be afraid of. Once you overcome the reflection in the mirror, you've done it. The younger generation quits. Not everybody. So I gotta put that. People get their butt hurt. So not everybody. Most of this generation quits the second they get talked to. You did this wrong, or they get yelled at. It's so easy to be great nowadays, because everybody else most people are weak. This is a softened generation. So if you have any mental toughness, any ability, if you have any fraction of self-discipline, the ability to not want to do it but still do it. People have a hard thing understand. I hate to run. And what makes me so crazy, it doesn't anymore, is people go, well, why do you run if you hate it? What are you talking about? I don't want to take showers and eat either. I hate that too. That's life, man. It wasn't until I changed that mentality that I became somebody. I hated going to school, so guess what? I was dumb as shit. That's what 1 + 1 is 2. But if you can get through to doing things that you hate to do, on the other side is greatness. That's what people don't understand. By me running, I am callous in my mind. I'm not training for a race. I'm training for life. I'm training for the time when I get that 2 o'clock in the morning call that my mom is dead or something happens tragic in life. I don't fall apart. I'm training my mind and my body and my spirit so it's all one, so I can handle what life is going to throw at me, because the life I've lived, it throws a whole bunch at you. And if you're not physically and mentally prepared for that, you're just going to crumble and you're good for nobody. That's a very scary situation when you are on one side of the door and your mind is racing, because on the other side of that door, it could be no one. It could be 4 guys with 4 AK-47s. That door you're about to open could be booby-trapped. So once you open it, boom, your legs are gone. So there's 1,000 things you think about when you're the first guy, second guy, third guy, getting ready to go in a room and flood it. And that's why I talk about the warrior mentality. And that's why so many people are lost when I start talking. You have the right. You're lucky that you don't have to think like warriors think. You're very privileged. I chose this world to be a warrior, and I would choose it again if I came back to this world. But the mentality of a warrior is very different than normal mentality. You must be that person on that door, get ready to open it, thinking to yourself, if I die, so be it. The only way you can go in that door is knowing there's a great chance you're gonna die. Like being a SEAL, you train with live ammo. You jump out of an airplane, everything you do, you could die. So to be a warrior, why people don't understand me, I'm glad you don't understand me. Merry Christmas, good on you. Because being a warrior takes a whole different mindset. A whole different mindset to know that there's a great chance I may not be in the military. Like I was in for 21 years. I'm lucky. I'm very lucky that I'm alive, able to talk to you, able to still run. But when you sign up on that dotted line to be like a SEAL, your mentality changes. I may not live. You gotta accept that. And that's the mentality you have. And that's what makes you a warrior. If you're scared to die, you're a bad warrior.
And so what do you use to push through? Is that a Goggins moment? Is that finding the darkness? I'm going through hell, I'll become the devil if I have to? Like what is that moment? What are you pulling up inside? I'm
pulling up a lot of the dark side of me, but I'm also looking at the guys to my left and to my right, realizing that we're here together, man. And I have to be strong for them, and they gotta be strong for me. A lot of people, either you like me or don't, even in the SEAL teams, But when you get to that door, or you get on that mission, or you get on that op, all that shit's out the door, man. You know, you do it honestly. I mean, people say all the time in these movies and shit, you really out there fighting for that guy beside you. And you can't be a coward. Because you know what, and this is how I look at everything I do now in life, and this sums it up. I hated jumping out of airplanes. I hated shooting guns. I hated the job as a Navy SEAL. But I did it because I wanted to change myself. Everything I do, I'm not really comfortable doing. But if you choose to go that route, to go be a Navy SEAL, you might as well go be the hardest motherfucker in the world. Because if you're choosing to do something, you have two routes. You can go there and be a little weak person and get through barely, and that's your reputation. Or you can go through the hardest guy you can possibly be, and that's your reputation. So my whole thing is, if you're gonna choose to open that door in Iraq or Afghanistan, open the motherfucker, go in hard. Because they're gonna remember you by slowly opening it and peeking in. So if you're gonna open it, and you made the mind to open it, don't crack it open. Open the door, go in. That's with life. If you're choosing to do something, attack it. Because they're gonna remember you as not attacking it. So I want to be remembered. You can hate me, but there's one thing you can't say about me. I didn't attack it. So that's the mentality to have. If you're gonna do something, you might as well attack it, because you can do it anyway. I love to see people who were getting beat down, and there's scenes. There's scenes that just drove me, and people in my hell weeks, you know, I was in 3 of them, they'd always hear me singing these songs, humming these songs in torturous situations. When everybody's quitting this code, I would be somewhere gone, and somewhere dark as shit. There's a scene in Platoon when Barnes shoots Elias, and you know, they think Elias is dead, and the choppers are taking off. And Charlie Sheen's asking, you know, Tom Berenger, where's Elias? Where's Elias? William Dafoe. Oh, I found him back there dead somewhere. And through the woods, the Viet Cong is chasing Elias through the woods, and they're shooting him in his back. And all he wants to do is get to the chopper. He's getting shot in his back, he's getting up, he's getting shot in his back, he's getting up. And you see this guy just fighting. I love the guy who just fights. And so I put these things in as reminders that you're gonna have to suffer, man. This 0.25, man, this is, man, you're gonna have to fucking suffer to go from this fat, insecure motherfucker to one of the best guys on the planet Earth. This journey is gonna take something that is gonna be incomprehensible to most people. And these different visualizations, how I visualize in my self-talk, it became so nasty and dirty that I almost liked the fact that I went 0.25. So it became from being defeated to like, man, all right, motherfucker, maybe tomorrow we can go 0.75. You know, it just became this different mindset. I turned negatives into positives. So I would take it like, who would even think about doing this? So I would sit on my couch saying, who at 297, who can't swim that great, who's scared of the water, would have the balls? Who had the balls to man up, quit a job, and go and just put everything on himself? So it's how I started talking to myself and putting myself in a whole different category, and that would fuel me the next day. And I just kept using that as fuel. No one would do this shit. No one would do this shit. You're the baddest motherfucker around. You're the baddest motherfucker ever live. And I just kept fueling me with the right kind of message that I needed to hear, that I was never telling myself. And through time, it became reality to myself. And that was my goal. And so I failed, I go back to scratch. I use some positive motivation. I have like one day where I'm like defeated. But I started realizing this is part of the process. This is part of the journey. I had to realize this is part of my process versus just saying, like I used to, I'm just not good enough. If I'm not good enough, we always say that shit. I'm just not good enough, and then we try something else. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And that became my mentality. I'm gonna make myself good enough. And so I'm misunderstood a lot, but that's all it came down to. I made myself good enough. And the days I couldn't run that far, the next week, I would do 2-a-days. So on the running, if I ran a quarter of a mile, I wait a couple hours, it'd haunt me, bother me. I try to run a half mile the next time, same day. You can do more than this. if I had to walk, I had to walk. It just became just a process of grinding and grinding, and grinding is not even a good word for it. It's not even a good word for it. And just going further and further. And then when I got through running, I go to the bike, I go to the pool. If I got tired somewhere, my legs were tired, I go to the gym. And I developed this crazy workout where I was doing volume, like 200-300 reps of like very lightweight. People always say, how come you don't have any like loose skin? My workout routine in the gym became sick. It became sick. I was just doing 200-300 reps, 400 reps on like chest, just like for one simple exercise, the bench press. And I would rack it, get back on it, just rep it out, trying to burn as many calories as I can, build that muscle mass. And I just became obsessed with it. I don't talk about it a lot, but the stress of my life getting to 24 caused me to have some serious psoas issues. I didn't know anything about this. The psoas muscle is what we use. It's your hip flexor muscle. And basically under stress, it starts to tighten up. And I stuttered from the time I was in 3rd grade, the time I was in 7th grade, white blotches on my skin. I was a nutcase. And so the insides of me are also getting so in this process, my psoas muscle got real tight to my T12. I can show you the bump on the back of my head after this show's over, but I started growing this like large tumor looking bump on the back of my head from my body compressing. So I'm 6'1", but my muscles were like 5'9", because I just started just the muscle tightness from my psoas going to my T12. I was just getting tighter, my quads, everything getting tired from just stress in my life. So the more I stressed my body with the workouts, my lower body became out of balance. So I had a bunch of stress fractures, a bunch of injuries going through buds. And how I got through buds was they gave me my 3rd time, was my last time going through Hell Week. I basically put a black sock on at 4 o'clock in the morning, and I would get duct taped. I had numerous stress fractures on both of my legs because my body was literally like coming in on itself, and my legs were like I was pronating it really bad and putting stress on my shins. And so I would put duct tape. I would duct tape my feet, and I would show you the top of them where I have pressure ulcers that were the size of quarters from, how the ankle joint, so the foot goes to the shin, and how you move this, where the tape was so tight, it just created a nice ulcer right there. And I just kept going through it. So I basically, over the last 5 years, everything I've done in my life, I did it being very unhealthy. I'd never talked about it. I just kept going. And it cost me pretty much, I was choking my insides out. Adrenal issues, tons of adrenal issues, thyroid issues, anything with the endocrine system pretty much shut down on me. My organs were pretty much shutting down. And I went from a guy who could run 205 miles to a guy who couldn't get out of bed. And the doctors were trying to search what was wrong. That's why I figured out the psoas muscle. No one figured it out. And I hit it by accident. So I've missed 2 days of stretching out in 5 years. And so what happened was all the shit I did to myself, the stress I was under, physical, mental, all kind of it just choked me out from the inside, and doctors put me on all kind of medication. And the medication started doing the exact opposite of
what kind of shit?
I was on DHEA, I was on some different things for my estrogen, different things for my, I was on anything to do with like with your endocrine system. Thyroid medicine, good God, I was on cortisol, all kind of shit to get my stuff in. I had like this lump in my throat from like the heart was always, I couldn't run down the street. My body was just jacked up. Couldn't sleep. My whole body was just down, shutting down. I could give you a lot more than that, but just to give you an example, I was fucking dying. And so I couldn't do anything. I went from a guy who was this guy to a guy who can't do shit. And doctor's like, I don't know what's wrong with you, man. Your labs are this. Is it PTSD? Is it what's going on? I knew what any of that shit. So I sat in the bed one day and I realized, man, my life is over. This is it. But it gave me time to reflect on everything I had accomplished, because I'd never taken time to reflect on the kid I was to the man I am now. So honestly, the time I wasn't working out, it was the best time of my life, because I got a chance to really reflect back and be proud of who I became. I never took time to do that. It was like one after another. Get the f after it, get after it, get after it. You ain't good enough, motherfucker. Get after it, get after it. And I got halted. So anyway, this process went on for a while. More medication. This isn't working. That's not working. No doctor can figure it out. I'm like, I saw this doc about 8 years before this happened. And he was like, hey man, you're so tight. I've never seen anybody in my life as tight as you. You need 50,000 hours of stretching. He threw out some crazy number. I was like, whatever. Stretching, stretching's bad for you. I worked out so hard, I didn't have time to stretch, man. I was running 150 miles a week. I was biking to work, man. I was getting after it, man. I was working a full-time job. And stretching, and doing that. So my body was literally getting tighter and tighter, not just from what I was doing. Everybody thinks, oh, because you ran this. No, it wasn't that, man. And so I said, no, I'm going to try and stretch out. So I don't do anything for like 10 minutes. Or, I don't do no 6-minute ab bullshit. So I started stretching out 1 hour, hour and a half. Long story short, man, I shave my head almost every morning. And that bump that was on the back of my fucking head, I started realizing it was shrinking for some fucking reason. I don't know why, because I shaved my head back and I was like, it's getting smaller. Smaller that bump got, healthier I got. Smaller that bump got, I was like, oh, hold up, what's going on? That psoas muscle started getting more and more stressed out, more and more relaxed. And over a period of 5 years, I'm in the best shape of my damn life right now from stretching out.
Wow.
That's all it was. I went from I can't even count the medications I was on. Now I'm on a very low dose thyroid pill, period. I put everything on David Goggins to be a Navy SEAL. It's like going to the crap table with your last $1,000. And you say, you know what? I'm gonna put everything on this on black. And hopefully I'll win. If not, I'm broke. I put my whole life, a guy that was scared of the fucking water, a guy that could taught himself how to read and write, on being one of the hardest motherfuckers on the planet. Think about that shit. A guy that came from nothing. I put my whole life, and I'm gonna go out here and put everything on David Goggins to be a Navy SEAL. Not to go be a Boy Scout or some shit. A Navy SEAL. And I look at that, and I did all this just to get the opportunity to succeed. That's what people don't understand, man. People see the end result. I remember that guy saying, my God, man, I can't believe what I've just done. I put everything, ruin relationships, ruin this, ruin that, put everything on. In fact, I have to become someone in this world, or I'm no good for anybody. It comes from a disgusting place of not being fulfilled in your life, of afraid of dying, having never accomplished anything. That's a fear that some people run away from, that people don't want to face. When you have a real fear of dying and being just another person, that I live to pay the bills, I made $1,000 a month. This is my life. I spray for cockroaches, man. If that makes you feel good, that's great. It didn't make me feel good. I wanted to, the first time in my life, after 26 years, it was 24, 25, whatever it was, I wanted to feel good about myself. You know, the one gift I have, with all that being said, what you just said there, is I have the ability to see the end before the beginning even begins. And what that means is I know that to get to the very end, I can see it right now. So before I went to Buds, and I was losing all this weight and shit, I saw myself walking across the stage at 191 pounds. That's what I had to get to get into the door. I saw myself 6 months, a year later, whatever's gonna take me to do it. I saw myself walking across that stage, getting that certificate of graduation from Buds. And I was able to be there at 300 pounds. And that feeling, that I was nowhere near that feeling, I was able to put myself there 1,000,000 times every day. And that feeling of like, my God, that is gonna feel amazing. That's what made me suffer. That's what allowed the pain to be real and say, this is worth it. I want to feel for this next 18 months. It took me 18 months to finally become a Navy SEAL, to finally, just get through Buds. 18 months, it's 6 months. It took me 18. That's what woke me up every morning, was I'm gonna put myself through this much pain and suffering for a few seconds. That's all it is. A few seconds of joy. And it's so worth it, man. That's what people don't get. So I'm able to put myself at the finish line, even though I have no finish line, but at the finish line of an event before I even start the motherfucker. Say, how are you going to feel at the end of this? Visualizing this is my biggest tool of life. That's why I've been able to put myself in cold water, put myself in a 100-mile race millions of times before I've done it. And I'm able to go through the race and see how I'm going to feel at mile 50, almost to the exact feeling. And that's the one thing I practice overnight. But also, the most important thing is I practice that feeling of accomplishment that I'm going to have when it's all said and done with. If I put my 100% into what's in front of me, I will destroy it. If I'm out here just multitasking and shit, I'm going to half-ass everything I do. So it is the most important thing in the world to me, is being focused at the task at hand. The one thing I'm most scared of in the world is losing touch with the best thing in the world is your mind, your mindset, how you can picture yourself, how you can focus, how you can drive, how you can put yourself in so many situations, get out of it. Because those headphones we listen to, those phones that we Google to find information, there's so many situations in my life where that shit's not gonna help me. It's not gonna help me. But what has helped me has been me alone, getting my shit together and being accountable for who I'm not and who I want to be. It's the only thing that's helped me. And not in a sadistic way, in a life-changing, growing way. I found out so much about myself through going through that training 3 times. And I went through the hardest part of the training 3 times. You know, after the first, so first phase is the crucible, man. And that's where I was at for 3 times. I spent most of my time in buds in first phase.
In the hell week.
In the hell weeks. And being in that grind. And in that grind, I got time to examine myself. I call it the live autopsy, and also examine other people, because I was really good about putting people way above me, because I was never nobody. So for me to be on the same stage as these great wannabe Navy SEALs and bus trainers, like, my God, you guys are amazing. I actually got here with you all. Thank you so much for allowing me into play. But as I was there for so long, I got a really good chance to sit back, because now the cold water is just water now. It's no longer cold anymore. Your mind starts to change. They say get in the water, most people think about it. For you, it became my life. So I started learning that if you start to change your mindset versus it being like, oh my God, this sucks, I became a professional bud student. So I wasn't gonna leave until I graduated. So I started realizing, if this is my home, this is what I am, I had to always reset the bar. I had to reset my new norm. There always had to be a new norm. So one thing we don't do is we don't have a new norm. My new norm is you get up every morning at 4 o'clock and you suffer. This is your new norm. That became my new life. Most people want to get out of it. I said, no, motherfucker, this is your new life. This is who you are. Your new norm is you wake up and you suffer. And I started realizing, if that's my mentality, this shit ain't hard anymore.